What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I'm probably going to guess and say right now you most likely did end up seeing the title to this video, and you're probably going to immediately say, yeah, bro, it is completely cooked, or who knows what the future is going to hold. There were some positive things, it brought some negative things and stuff, but I am really curious. I can't wait to see the comments on this video. But seriously though, can Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown make a comeback, or is it going to be too late for it? Now, I do know again that there's probably going to be a lot of different mixed comments and stuff like that with this and all that, and I am curious to see what you guys think. That was kind of like the biggest thing I was aiming for when I was thinking about this video. I'm kind of curious to see like the community, seeing where they're at with stuff, seeing like do they think this game has a future? Can it come back from this? We all are going to know right now, guys, it's probably the most obvious thing ever that there is going to be some weird design decisions in this game, like for example, ranked, the entire online only thing where the servers are barely working and stuff like that, or you can barely see players because of the region lock and no crossplay and stuff. So yeah, there is definitely going to be some odd decisions with this game that really do make me scratch my head. Like the entire fundamental design of it really doesn't make all that much sense of what they were aiming for, trying to make it like a competitive type of thing, when we all do know and everybody in this community probably doesn't want anything to do with a competitive thing. Instead, they would rather have something along the lines of co-op, or, similar to the old Test Drive Unlimited games, and not a fully online focused ranked racing game, which again probably doesn't make a lot of sense. But with all of that being said though, I did end up making a video probably 5+ months ago pretty much saying to give the game a chance. We never know what can happen with it. And the insane part though, and the probably, I guess you could say, the crazy part of me is probably like, yo, anything is possible, right? This game can probably make a crazy comeback in year 2. They could do some insane things with it. And also, with that being said, many players are probably going to move away from the game by then, or they're probably going to forget about it. And I do know it's going to have a dedicated fan base that's going to be like, yo, we're sticking with it. This game can be great. I do like what they're adding into it and stuff with Season 3. I think this game could be amazing in Season 5, or, going into year 2. Who knows what they might end up adding. So there is probably going to be, I guess you could say, both sides to that most likely. But when I was looking at this I really was thinking about a few things with Test Drive, going, okay, so this game does have a possibility to easily make an incredible comeback, but it is most likely going to take a lot of work. Shocking, right? Well, probably not at this point. Now, we all do know in Season 3, though, we got some good positive changes. We were going to get the solo mode in races, which honestly, I don't know how that wasn't in the game, or it wasn't even in there at launch. Like, we all do know the game was basically online focused, and for some odd reason, you couldn't pause a racing game when you were racing by yourself. Pretty much no online players with you. You can't pause it. You can't even restart it. You have to abandon it. Like, a lot of that made no sense. So I was happy to see that being added into Season 3. That was great. I would say a lot of players are going to like it. Now, I have been seeing other sides of that, of people saying, well, we have the solo mode now, so multiplayer is even more dead. Players are not even trying to find players, or like, jump into races with other people. They would all rather just jump in solo, which honestly should probably tell you a lot of things there on why the entire online mode thing doesn't even work. And speaking of the entire online focus of the game, the other part that's going to bring me into that legit nobody I have seen likes this at all is the ranked design, or a lot of players are kind of tired of how they did end up having a focus on it, especially adding a really dope vehicle to the rank mode, which most players can't even do it. And that will most likely be the most insane part to me with this though, is we're going to have a ranked design in the game, and they can probably clearly be pushing it. We all are going to know that they're probably going to change it in the future, but at the moment, guys, we're going to have random events basically scattered around the map. You're going to have to hope to go to that said event in a region that you're in, because it's obviously region lock. You can't play with other people, and crossplay is off. So depending on where you're going to be located around the world, you might not even have people in your lobby. And if there is going to be people in your lobby, what is the odds of everybody in that said lobby with you in that region going to the same race you're going to at that time to hopefully match make with them, to then get into a ranked event to hopefully grind it, to then go all the way to Solar Court to get a car that they were advertising that pretty much nobody is going to be able to get. Does that make any sense, bro? Like, that entire thing, saying that out loud, really does sound absolutely insane to me. We all probably do know at this point a PvP hub or something, or one of the insane amount of buildings around the entire map could have been the main PvP part, go there, join any race you want, kind of like a playlist thing, or just jump into random racing with people, whether it's going to be hypercars or sports or something like that. Do the events, and then have the rank tab in there. That way you can go in there, join ranked, go after some of the other stuff like that. But instead, though, they're going to have the weirdest design I have ever seen. Then they're also going to add region lock, which basically takes most of the entire fan base away from even going after the ranked vehicles. Like, I really do not understand that design. So if they are going to want this game to succeed, guys, I have to say it. Just get rid of ranked or do something completely different with it. Get rid of all the rewards, take the car out of it, or at least add a PvP hub. But even then, though, players don't want to have an entire rank thing being the huge focus of the game. So I do have to say that really does need to change, which I would say it probably will, but the biggest thing is, though, when it does change, is it going to be too late? I mean, we're thinking Season 5 here, right? Maybe even Season 6, so probably 6 months from now. And if we're going to do some quick maths here, that's also going to then add the fact that that's probably going to be in October. We are about to be in April, man. Like, that is so dang crazy to think about. So yeah, we could probably say along the lines of that we probably got some positive changes with Season 3, with the entire solo mode and all that. Now, the other thing I did want to talk about with that, though, is even though we got some positive things, there's other things that are crazily broken in the game. One thing I did want to mention, I know I can't be the only one that's noticed this or has talked about it. Been seeing a lot of people discuss this in the Discord, but does anybody else get really annoyed with the entire obstacle thing? Like when you barely touch legit anything, specifically a wall, you legit stop dead in your tracks. Like, I don't know why they really changed it that hard. What if a player runs into you, or what if they're glitching back and forth because of the terrible connection in the servers? They hit you into a wall. Guess what? You're probably going to be absolutely cooked. If you barely scrape a wall, bro, you are legit stopping dead in your tracks. It's kind of insane because it really wasn't that bad before. Not really sure why they did end up doing that, but hey, hopefully that will end up getting addressed there in Season 4 and probably hopefully fixed, because right now it really shouldn't slow you down that much. Like, I do understand it should probably punish you running into things, but why that much, man? Like, pretty much goes from 200 to maybe 20 miles an hour in a couple of seconds. That is absolutely insane to me. Now, speaking of all of that, though, we are probably going to be aware of a lot of the issues. Like, for example, the new, like, car deliveries aren't working right. There's going to be cars in the parking spot and stuff around that nature. So hopefully, again, those issues are going to be fixed. And some of that kind of makes me wonder how there's no Q&A testing on some of the issues. But then again, that's kind of going to be a widespread problem in many games nowadays. But with all of that being said, though, a reason why I think this game might have an issue with a comeback comes down to a couple of different things. Now, this is probably going to sound a bit insane. I do understand people aren't the biggest fan of this game, but we all do know Forza Horizon 5 is coming out on PlayStation legit next month. We are literally less than a month away of this game coming out, guys. I do understand people might not like it, or whether or not you're probably going to find some flaws in the game, which we can all admit every single game has some flaws to it. We all do know right now for a fact, though, Forza Horizon is pretty much the biggest racing game genre at the moment. Also probably has the most players as well. Now, that's going to be launched on PS5. There is already probably tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of pre-orders. I really don't know the numbers on that, but it's legit been topping charts basically all around the world, so it's probably pretty high up there. Players are looking for a racing game. We all do know Solar Crown's probably going to go down in its player base. Motorfest as well, like other racing games for that matter, players have been waiting for it. And again, I do understand the game might have flaws, players might not like it, but here's the thing. Despite the flaws in the game, we cannot deny the fact that the entire car list in Forza is going to be absolutely insane. I'm mad excited for that, but here's the biggest part that I'm looking at. We all do know the servers in Test Drive are not going to be working that great. They are going to be region locked, no crossplay. You can't play with people that you know if they live somewhere else. If they're going to be on a different console, you can't play with them. This is also going to be an issue basically in a lot of racing games. For example, Motorfest has the same problems. One of the other racing games I know of that did end up having crossplay that worked pretty well was going to be Need for Speed Heat. I remember that game working decently well with it. But the thing is, Test Drive isn't going to have a good multiplayer system. Motorfest also doesn't. So whether people want to hate on Forza or not, man, this is going to be the biggest racing game on that scale that is also going to have working crossplay and in free roam for that matter, man. There's no racing game on that scale that has it. So I think we can all agree that's probably going to disrupt Test Drive a bit. Am I right? I mean, it's really hard to look past that. Test Drive already has a lower player count. And I do feel like something like Forza is going to play a role in not only Test Drive, but also other racing games as well. And there's also another big elephant that's basically hanging out in the room with us. Now, we all do know, again, they're going to have more stuff planned for the optimization, the graphics and stuff in Season 5. So that's going to be, again, 6 months from now, probably in the around, I guess you could say October or around that time. Guys, tell me another game that's coming out around that time that everybody probably wants. That is probably going to be one of the biggest game launches in history. That is Grand Theft Auto 6. Like, whether people want to play it or not, whether they're going to hate, pretty much almost everybody is going to most likely be on Grand Theft Auto for a bit. So I would say even then, Test Drive is probably going to get the update. People might check it out, but they are most likely going to be incredibly occupied with GTA 6. And the insane part is multiplayer is not coming out for, what is it, like 5 months or something after, which I do understand because they got to get ready for 50, 60 million plus players logging onto it. So I think we can probably all agree that getting those servers tested and making sure we're not going to have an incredibly botched launch, probably something like Test Drive or like the early days of Grand Theft Auto Online back in the day. But again, though, that's probably going to be 50 million people trying to log on instead of what, like 80 to 100,000 or so. So that is probably going to be a big difference of players there, and getting the server set up, yeah, probably going to be a good idea. Now, the thing is, I'm not necessarily saying Test Drive is going to be completely cooked, because I still believe in things turning around, even if it's going to be later and stuff like that. So who knows? Maybe Test Drive can most likely make a return in the future with the proper updates, which I would say hopefully it's not going to be too late. But also for a lot of the fans, it might end up being too late for them to where they might end up moving on, or seeing the state of the game right now and going, we really want a lot of TDU features in it. And right now, I feel like it may never actually happen in the game. And well, when it does, it is probably going to be very bare bone or missing things, or we might end up having some weird stuff happen in the updates with bugs and all that. So in some ways, it might end up taking the confidence away from a lot of the fan base. Do let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I can honestly keep ranting and stuff. Hopefully, and maybe in the future, Test Drive will get on track. I can believe in some ways that it might, but I also feel like once it finally gets the optimization updates and stuff like that, which I'm going to be honest, on PS5 is heavily needed. We all do know right now the graphics on console on this game is not that great. Specifically on PS5, I have noticed some weird things here and there. The game is still crashing a lot and stuff like that. So the fact that it's probably going to be well over a year into its life, and then they're finally going to get an optimization update, is kind of scary in that aspect. And who knows, by then a lot of players might be like, I might not play this game till it's optimized, which again is going to be 6 months. You might then be playing, Grand Theft Auto or whatever. But again, we're going to have to wait and find out on this stuff. But besides all of that, though, I am going to end this off with the same question I did end up asking in the beginning of the video. Can Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown make a comeback, or is it going to be too late? Do let me know what y'all think about this in the comments below. I'm really curious to see this. I can't wait to see what everybody does think about it.